Hi, everybody. My name is Nanika Edwards. Among many other things, I'm a linguist, and one of the languages that I speak is Mandarin Chinese. In a couple of quick videos, I would like to share with you how I have mastered Chinese to a reasonable degree. Now, people often ask me, are you fluent? I must admit, I think people have different ideas of what fluent is. For me, as a linguist, when I think of fluent, I think native level ability. Do I have native level ability? No, I don't. But can I hold a conversation reasonably comfortably depending on the topic? Yes, I can. Um, for some people, that is what they call fluent. But I don't call that fluent, right? I just call that like a high level of proficiency. But again, for me, especially with Chinese, maybe more so than with French or Spanish, for me, my degree of fluency in Chinese really depends on the topic. There's some things that I can speak about much more easily than others. Anyway, in this video, I'd like to let you know how I mastered Chinese, and in a couple of different videos, I'll be doing that, okay? So, first of all, I started learning Chinese formally in Canada as part of my bachelor's, undergrad program. And I did a degree in East Asian studies. And at that time, the way that degree worked was you could focus on China, Japan, or Korea. I chose for different reasons. One thing led to another, and I focused on China. And I chose courses that allowed me to explore Chinese history and sociology and especially the language. So, but I think I did quite a few history courses, if I'm not mistaken. But certainly the thing that stands out in my mind would be the language courses. I think I did, if I remember correctly, it was like 4 classes a week, 1 hour per day, so 4 hours a week of classes. And well, that's just a car passing by. I don't know if you can hear that, but anyway, in my first year, I had a wonderful teacher from mainland China. Her name was Fu Lao Shi. Man, I would love to reconnect with Fu Lao Shi. I could tell you that she was a wonderful person. She made it so easy for us to learn. For, like the foreigners in the class, she went really easy on us. And, she didn't grade us too hard. And she gave us the chance to really get used to the language. She was a wonderful person, just a wonderful, wonderful soul. And she was so encouraging. And I remember that she was much harder on the Chinese students who took the class like to get easy grades. Because I mean, at that time, I don't know if it's still the same, but at that time you got extra credits for doing what would have been considered a challenging language like Chinese or Japanese. You got heavier credits, right? If I could put it like that, you got more credits for doing. There were more you got a higher concentration of credits for doing a class like that. And so there were quite a few Chinese people who took it just to get easy credits. So she was harder on them. But like for foreigners like myself, whether we were Canadian or American, wherever we were coming from, if she knew that Chinese was a new thing for us, she went really easy on us, and that just made it so much easier, so much more enjoyable. The other thing about studying in Canada was that with respect to Fu Laoshi and also my other teacher, I had a teacher for most of my time in Canada at the university that I was at, which is McGill. My teacher spoke in Chinese. That was one of the things that really helped. Like they spoke in Chinese. For the most part, they taught in Chinese. So it really helped me to develop an air for the language. And apart from that, like it so worked out that I guess it didn't, I shouldn't say it so worked out. It was very deliberate on my part, but I had a lot of Chinese friends, people who uh were a lot of them were, I say most of them were Chinese Canadian, and out of whom I became roommates with, well, I should say I became roommates with two of them for 2 of the years that I was in, that I spent in Canada. So ordinarily back then, a typical university program would have been 4 years. I think it's probably still the same today, but because I did Cambridge A levels in Trinidad, Cambridge advanced levels, those really, really very challenging exams. 1 year was cut off from my 4 years in Canada. So I did 3 years of Chinese in Canada, and it was a wonderful, wonderful introduction to Chinese. So formal education was my entry point to learning Chinese, formal university education. Of course, now it's very different. I mean, I did this many moons ago. That was like between 1993 and 1996, right? So we're talking a good while ago. And of course, back then we didn't have internet. We didn't even have email, right? So it was much harder to learn. Now you can learn much faster, much easier. There are a lot of resources online on a lot of resources online on like YouTube, Instagram, and so on, Facebook. You can, I would think, whatever platform you're on, TikTok, whatever, you can find a lot of resources that would help you to learn, whether you want to learn on your own, whether you decide to engage the services of a teacher, and there are many of them on social media, so you can definitely find one who would work for you. Yeah, formal education can go a long way in helping you, to get you started with learning Chinese and take you all the way. So that's it. I hope that was helpful. Until next time.